Yeah. Analytics off the chain, other channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game. I'm a headliner.
Yo, Headliner Nation, more breaking news today. It's going off the chains right now. Odell Beckham Jr. finally picking his destination, heading out west to the Los Angeles Rams. Who would have thought? And what does this do for the fantasy landscape? I mean, as far as just the normal landscape goes, I mean, it's going to be absolutely impossible to cover anybody on this Rams offense. But what's the fallout from this? What ends up happening? All of those things. And why do they have to keep doing this to Van Jefferson? Why? Anyway, so OBJ fallout. What happens now in the fantasy football landscape? Well, Matthew Stafford, this doesn't change anything with him at all because he was already a high-powered quarterback and a high-powered offense. I mean, this isn't necessarily going to make him any better, and it's definitely not going to make him worse. What about the run game? Well, Darrell Henderson will probably end up seeing a few less targets at this point, I would imagine. Van Jefferson was seeing a decent amount of targets, but not a ton, right? And he's really the field stretcher for this team. I don't anticipate OBJ just being that guy. I do anticipate just a little bit more volume, but for OBJ himself, maybe not a whole lot. Cooper Kupp, this isn't affecting anything with Cooper Kupp. I mean, he is obviously 100% the guy in this offense. The one thing that we might see is increased efficiency. So this could make for some even bigger days for Cooper Kupp. Why? Well, because now he's solely in the slot all the time. There's no reason to even need to move him outside. OBJ's outside. I mean, you can put Robert Woods outside. Cooper Kupp goes to the slot. How are you going to cover him? You're going to cover him with a nickel corner every single time? You're not going to be able to do that. They're not going to be able to keep up with them. Well, so he's going to stay firmly top 5 wide receiver, at least, I would anticipate. Robert Woods, I do expect this to hurt Robert Woods a little bit. He was just finally starting to climb back up. I could see some of the targets going to Robert Woods, now going over to OBJ as well. It's going to be, I mean, it's not going to happen right away, though, right? Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods are probably safe for at least a couple more weeks. Tyler Higbee, already not really fantasy relevant. Haven't had him as a start in a while. Had him as like tight end 20 this coming week. I think this really nerfs any targets that were ever going to be going his way anymore. So Tyler Higbee well down. Robert Woods taking a little bit of a hit. Darrell Henderson Jr. on the run game. Still going to be good on the ground. Probably not going to see many targets through the air now, I would assume. But still, a really good RB2, especially when you've got, again, 3 wide receivers like that running all over the place. We've seen it with like Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones at times over the last couple of years with that high-powered Bucs offense. Everybody spread out all over the place, and it leads to some pretty decent runs. Well, Darrell Henderson Jr., I'm sorry to both Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette, is much better than them. So hopefully this leads to a little bit more efficiency for him, even though if we might see a little bit of volume coming back down. The main concern, though, and the reason probably a lot of you are tuning in at this point, is OBJ. What do I see for OBJ moving forward? Not a ton. I don't see a lot of fantasy relevance this year. Really, at this point for him, he's signing this contract, number one, to win. Like, he wants to go there and he wants to win. But number two, he wants to reestablish some value. And that value doesn't necessarily need to come with volume. So if he's only getting maybe 5 targets a game, if he can catch 3 or 4 of those, get anywhere in the area of maybe 50, 60, 70 yards, yeah, it's not going to be great for fantasy purposes, but for his value, for him to sign something next season, he wants to establish that he can go somewhere, fit in, and win, and he wants to go somewhere that he can just get on the field and show that he's healthy. That's kind of what this is about for him. So, fantasy-wise, probably not going to be starting him. Not anytime soon anyway. Him and Robert Woods are going to be splitting a lot. I expect Robert Woods to fall more towards like a wide receiver 3 the rest of the season. Probably OBJ kind of in that area a little bit. For fantasy purposes, I don't love it. I think it does end up helping Cooper Kupp a little bit. So if you own Cooper Kupp, I think congratulations to you on this one. But it's not a big, it's nothing big for OBJ. It's nothing big for Robert Woods. And it's certainly, Matthew Stafford just gives him another target. So So, but we're not changing him much in the rankings at this point. But wanted to give you my quick breakdown on what this means for the Los Angeles Rams. Kind of covered everybody at this point and what we see to happen. But as always, we're going to have to kind of wait for this information to come back to us. What happens with OBJ? How does the offense end up playing out? What do we see in terms of 3 wide receiver sets? How often is it? And things of that nature. So I expect a lot of them, though. I expect them to be on the field a lot, but will there be enough targets to go around is going to end up being the question. But do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and in the comments below, let me know what you think of this deal for OBJ. Fantasy-wise the rest of the year, what do you think? And will you be trying to play him if you still own him? I'm going to get out of here, though. Peace out, Headliner Nation. Appreciate y'all tuning into this video. So I'll see y'all later. Stay safe, stay healthy. Catch you on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.
Analytics off the chain, other channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game. Y'all stuck on third down. Your content's plain Jane. Headliners on top now. We gonna move and change. Podcast off the rip. Draft guide, so legit. Fantasy world, our game tight. You know we about that chub life. Stuck in a rut and you need some motivation. Head to the channel for this Headliner Nation.
I'm a headliner.